Feet hip width apart. You can see there's a bit of a glare there. Hip width apart, just spread the toes. Bend the knees ever so slightly, tuck the tailbone in. Draw in your pelvic floor. Pulling in, taking that TVA, so that corset round the middle, belly button pulling back to the spine. Lift up the rib cage, take your shoulders back. Draw the crown of your head up towards the sky, tuck your chin in, find the length at the back of the neck. So getting nice and tall. We're going to pull in pelvic floor, TVA, either both together or one and then the other. Pull in, hold, 10 seconds, so a little bit longer than normal. Now just notice the breath. We're trying not to hold the breath. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And then slow release. 2 more, pelvic floor, TVA, 100%. You wouldn't really squeeze this hard unless you were desperate for a wee. Maybe standing on like poolside in a tight bikini. Just let somebody else in. And then take a slow release. Hi Gabrielle, we're just doing some pull-ins. Pelvic floor pulled in, TVA pulled in. 100%, really squeeze. Check you're not holding the breath and your shoulders are nicely relaxed and your jaws relaxed too. 3, 2, 1, and slow release it down. Take it down to 50%, keep the engagement there. Now that's where you keep it if you're out walking, running, any kind of activity you want to hold those 2 muscles in, about 50%. So, going to go for some of the normal jazz. Lift one arm, level up with the shoulder. Ear going down to shoulder neck release. Reaching out to the side for your shoulder glide. Still engaging with that core, recenter it. Arm goes up to the ceiling. Then take it all the way over to your side bend. Hand on hip, a little bit of support. And then release. Other side. Lift that arm up level with the shoulder. Ear down to shoulder neck release. Pull in that core 50%. Shoulder glide out to the side. Recenter it. Arm up towards the sky. Take it over side bend, hand on hip. And then release. 1 more each time. Lift. Nice and slow. Ear down to shoulder. Try and relax the other shoulder. Shoulder glide out to the side. Pull in the core. Keep the hips still. Recenter. Arm up towards the sky. Take it over onto your side bend. This time maybe spiral, heart towards ceiling. So you can really push into the hip. Take a little bit of a spiral but still engage with that pelvic floor. Pressing in with the feet. Recenter it. Last one, lift. Ear down to shoulder neck release. Pulling in that core for your shoulder glide. Reach out to the sides. Recenter it, hips still, arm up towards the sky. Over for that side bend. Bringing that spiraling heart towards ceiling. Still engaging pelvic floor. Breathing in then and recenter. Linking linking the fingers together. So a little bit of a wrist exercise. Okay, yeah, so just interlink the fingers. So all we're going to do here is interlink and we're going to draw a figure of 8. So if I come a bit closer. So there's a figure of 8 here and this is just a wrist. So if you get any tightness in your wrist, any arthritis in your wrists. So just a little figure of 8. Now still thinking about engaging with the core, right? So pelvic floors in, TBA's in. Just 4 more, figure of 8s. Someone using an angle grinder, didn't expect that. Hope that's not too loud for you guys. And release. We're going to go to our scapular set. So elbows tucked into the sides. Check they're in line with the body. Pulling in the core. Breathing out. Opening up. Hands up to the sides. Breathing in, recenter. And again. Now notice what's happening with the lower back. So we want the pelvis tucked under here. We don't want the lower back arching. Breathing out. Take the thumbs back. Breathing in, recenter. Try and keep the shoulders down away from the ears and the length at the back of the neck. 4 more. Squeezing the scapula together. I've got a few more exercises today for the scapula. Coming up a bit later. Last one. Prayer hands, okay, and then just stick your elbows out. And I want you to really press your palms together here. So a little bit of kind of pushing against each other. You know, the right arm is there, is pushing against the left. Engage pelvic floor, engage TVA. And all we're going to do is just drift up on the toes for balance. Nice balance. Lower down the heels. And we're going to sweep the arms all the way around for a nice full body stretch, breathing in. Looking up, baby back bend if you want. Press the air away. Draw the hands all the way down. And then it's a slow slide the hands down towards the feet. Forward fold. Slide your hands back up, breathing in. Back to your prayer, pressing in. Then go again. Slowly lift up onto the toes. Into your balance. Pelvic floor engaged. Recenter, drop the heels. Arms going up and around, breathing in. Baby back bend if you want, breathing out, circle it around, slide the hands down towards the feet. Release the lower back with a nice steady forward fold. We're going to go 2 more. Into your prayer hands, a little bit of pressure there, pushing into each other. Slowly lift up onto the toes, engage the core. Heels coming back down. Sweep the arms all the way around, breathing in. Engage the core, tuck the tailbone under. Breathing out, sweep it down, slide the hands down. Forward fold. Breathing out, uncurl. Last one. Pressing in, lifting up onto those toes, engaging with the core, work with that balance. Bring those heels down. Breathing in. Reach the arms up towards the sky, looking up, breathing out, sweep them down, slide it down, forward fold. Maybe each time you got a little bit further down towards the floor. And take the shoulders back, recenter it. So we're going to go into some squats. So up to you now. We've been playing recently in the last few weeks with our single leg. So I don't mind, we're going to go for 3 lots of 20. So if you do the first set, maybe full, both double leg squats, and then maybe a single leg and then a single leg, or if you want to totally work single leg, maybe 10 on one leg, 10 on the other, but we're going to go for 3 lots of 20. So I'm going to go with double, single, single. So first set, I'm going to do double. Feet just a little bit wider than hip width. I'm going to scrunch up my toes, draw under my arches, bending the knees, take the hips back in space, reach those hands forwards. Breathing in, rise. So because we're doing 20, we're going to work a little bit faster than maybe what I normally go. So coming down and coming up. So it's a little bit more dynamic sometimes than what I normally give. Hips go back in space, hips coming. And knees are going to go over the bit, just above the big toe. Breathing out to rise, get the shoulders back. Try not to arch in the lower back as you lift. So keep that tailbone tucked under as you lift and rise. Pelvic floor pulled in. I've got 10 left. I don't know if you're on the same speed as me. Really noticing what's happening with your knees. Try not to let your knees draw in, pronate in. Try and keep the knees hip width. Take the focus under the arches and underneath the feet. Check the arches don't drop. I've got 5 to go. Try not to hold the breath. And 4. Squeezing those glutes. 3. And 2. And 1. So up to you now on what you want to do. So I'm going to go for some single leg work. So I'm going to take that single leg. Other options, you could go a little bit wider. So you could take a bit more of a sumo squat, allow your feet to turn out to the side slightly. on sumo, right? So up to you. There's always options in there. Okay, ready for go on your 20. So off we go then. Again, we're going to watch what's happening with knees if you're on single leg. We're pulling in pelvic floor, pulling in TVA. Arms reaching forwards and maybe bear claws. So really extend and feel the tension in your fingers. Shoulders are relaxed. Hips are going back in space. Whoa. So on those single leg, the real focus is on the knee, and if you can watch yourself, if you can watch your screen, because there's only a few of us in, you might be able to see yourself there. Oh no, because actually you're a speaker, right? So just watching the knee doesn't drop. I'm on 10 to go. Doesn't drop across that midline. So it's all glute med and glutes. I like your sumo squats, Chris. I'm going to encourage you to go a little bit lower if you can. Yeah, nice. 20 is quite hard, you know, this is building up strength endurance, so yeah, it's not a true piece of cake, this one. I've put a challenge in here. 5 to go. Think about the arch underneath the feet, perhaps scrunching up the toes a little bit there. All the time, pelvic floor, TVA engaged. Shoulders relaxed. Whew. Okay, maybe a little bit of shake on the legs. If you're on those single legs, 20 is quite a lot. Then switch legs, or if you want another little challenge maybe you could try, if you're on a double leg, is come down and lift your heels up off the ground and then lift. So you could always do your squats in a balanced position. So just another option if you want a double leg and you want a challenge. So we're going to go last time on 20. If you're on the single leg, literally hop onto the other leg. Scrunch up those toes, lift up the arch underneath the foot. Think about the glutes here. This is a glute strengthening exercise. So pelvic floor engaged. Woo! And I always find when I'm on single leg, I've always got one leg that's more wobbly than the other, and maybe you've got the same thing. Whew. Shoulders relaxed, jaw relaxed, pulling in that TVA, taking those hands forwards, those bear claws. 10 to go, maybe you're tiring, just keep it going. Ooh. Pain is only a word. Is that right? Okay, 5 to go. Watch that knee isn't coming across the midline. The other leg doesn't drift across the midline on those single legs. 3. And 2. And 1. Okay, just a little bit of a shake out on that one. Brilliant. Okay, so a little bit of a balance. I'm going to stick the camera like that because I'm going to take my foot backwards. So you need a little bit of space behind you. So choose a leg, whichever leg that's feeling a little bit more energetic after your single leg squats, so probably that first leg you went on. We're going to first of all start with your tree pose. So lift the relaxing leg. Turn the knee out to the side, pelvic floor engaged. And then you can almost squeeze your glutes, tuck your pelvis under, and you get that kind of more like adductor stretch in here. Breathing in, and then as you breathe out, we're going to just take that leg back in space, reaching the hands forwards. So like a donkey kick back into space. Nice. Then we're going to do that again, but see if you can stay on the balance. So go into your tree, nice and slowly rotate that knee out to the side. Then bring it back in, we're still on the balance, scrunch up the toes, Engage the arch underneath the foot and then reaching back. Try not to look down, look forwards. Reset, last one, so if you can stay lifted. Nice and slow into the tree pose. Hip opening work. Recenter it, reach that leg back, reach the hands forwards. Nice. And then reset. Lovely, we're going to go on the other side. It's exactly the same thing. So take the weight over onto the other leg, scrunch up the toes, lift up the arch. Really slowly opening around the hips, squeeze the glutes, tuck the pelvis under and pull in that core. Shoulders relaxed. Recenter it, take that foot back in space. Back in space and reach the hands forwards. Recenter, we've got 2 more. Lifting that knee and then slowly rotate it around to the side, squeezing the glutes. Pulling in that pelvic floor, pull in that TVA. Try not to twist the whole body in your tree pose. Recenter it. Take that foot back in space. Reach the hands forwards. Still scrunching up those toes, work with those arches. Squeezing those glutes. Last one. Lift. Rotate the knee out to the side. Pull in that core. Tuck that tailbone under. Recenter it. Take that foot back in space and reach. It's kind of a great move for linking that glute to the hamstring eccentrically and working with the hamstrings, lengthening and strengthening. Brilliant, bit of a shake out. We're going to all meet down in downward dog. So make your way down. Let's get that camera right. Love my studio. So take yourself into downward dog. Just push down one heel, then the other heel, just stretching out the calf muscles. Feet hip width apart. So if you can get your head in between your arms. And then kind of work at the stretch in the shoulders. So you almost want to push your chest towards your thighs to get that stretch in the backs of the shoulders. Keep working at pressing one heel down and then the other. Pulling in that pelvic floor, pulling that TVA. Couple more breaths. And then we're just going to step the left foot forwards. We're going to take that high lunge. Step the left foot forwards and then we're going to step ourselves up, high lunge. Just find yourself here, push through in that back heel. So we're really working with that hip flexor stretch. I just say that I'm going to adjust so you can see what I'm doing with my arms there. So we've got our left foot forward, we're pushing back through that right leg. We're going to take a side bend, so lifting up your right hand up towards the sky. Then very slowly take it over the midline for this massive hip flexor and full body stretch. Tucking the tailbone in and pulling in pelvic floor and TVA. Recenter and find your eagle arm. So we'll go right elbow underneath left, interlink. Now with your eagle arms, I want you to take that figure of 8. So dip the left shoulder down and then lift. It's all balance. And then dip your right shoulder down. So this is working at stretching and lengthening in the scapula. And then lift and then the left shoulder. So it's like a figure of 8 with the shoulders, and it kind of works into a bit of a side bend as well. And then the right shoulder. And then the left, and it's all kind of tricky because you're kind of working with this balance. And then the right. Last time, figure of 8. Into the left, into the right. And then we're going to go for that lizard stretch. So take your hands down on the inside of the leg. And that's that massive stretch, and you're going to feel this kind of real, this is lengthening the stride kind of stuff, all hip flexor. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths in here. This is called your lizard. If you turn the left foot, see if you can get your big toe on the left foot off the mat. So turn the left foot out towards the sides of the mat. deepens that stretch even more. Stepping that left foot back then, go back to your downward dog. Just a little bit of a heel action there, heel toe, heel toe. And then we're going to get ready, we're going to go on the other side. Step the right foot forwards, draw yourself up to that high lunge. Really work at pushing back through that left leg. Feel the hip flexor stretch. Especially if you've been sitting down a lot recently, like stretching out those hip flexors, super important. Tuck the tailbone under there as well. Then draw up that left hand, slowly take it over that midline. Right hand is on that right leg just to help with your balance. Take your side bend. Looking forwards or looking up. Take a moment there just to feel the hip flexors really lengthen out. Release, then we're going to go left arm underneath, so cross the elbows underneath, take those eagle arms, interlink, and then you've got your figure of eight, so 4 figure of eight, dip the right shoulder and lift, over to the left, and lift. If the high lunge is too wide, too long, just adjust, no problem. And it's all working again with balance. Working into those side bends a little bit. Find that pelvic floor and draw in. Find the TVA, draw in. Last one. Dip that right shoulder. Lifting up. Dip the left. Recenter it. Take the hands down inside of the foot. Take the toes, the big toe, and take the right foot, the big toe on the right foot off the mat. Take your lizard stretch. And on lizard stretch, you can almost let your pelvis, let your hips drop and feel them heavy. And that's where you're going to find your stretch. Nice lengthening stride. Still work with the core and the pelvic floor and that TVA. Big dip, deep breath. Then step it back. One moment in downward dog. Lifting up the hips, chest towards your thighs. And then just slowly drop that down into hands and knees. A little bit of an adjust on my lens. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Find your neutral spine to pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. Then we're going to do opposite arm, opposite leg, breathing out left, and then we're going to go and find those corners of the mat. Out to the corners, recenter, bring it back down, switch it over, nice and simple. Breathing out left, squeezing the glute, out to the corners of the mat, recenter it, and then reset. Breathing out left, pulling in that pelvic floor, pulling that TVA, out to those corners. Recenter it, and switch it over. Breathing out left. You're going to find these glutes in this exercise. Out to those corners. Recentering it. Bringing it down. So try not to look down at your knees. So you're kind of just looking slightly towards the front of the mat. Out to the corners. Recenter it. To left. Breathing out left. Really working TVA there, out to the corners. Squeezing those glutes, reaching that hand forwards. Reset, last one. Breathing out left. Out to the corners. Recenter it and reach. And then bring it back down. Brilliant, come all the way down onto the mat. And just bring your forehead onto the mat and your arms down by your sides. You take the eye gaze down, like you're reading a really good book here. And this must look kind of funny, like the way I'm lying here on the end of the station. Okay, so we're going to breathe out, we're going to lift the head and the shoulders, and we've got the palms facing up towards the sky, and then we're going to just turn the palms around, so the palms face down, twist it back down, and then bring it back down again. Breathing out, lift. Switch around those palms. So you almost get this little squeeze, scapulas squeezing together. Turn them back around, lower it down. Now just find that pelvic floor. So let's go with some connections here. Pelvic floor is engaged. TVA is engaged. Twist. Twist it back down. Bring it down. Last one. I'm going to go and lift. Twist. Twist it back around. And lowering it down. Take a rest on the arms and just bring your hands underneath your head. And then we're going to do a single leg kick. So bending one knee, bring your heel towards your bum. Bring it all the way back down and just switch it over. It's really simple. Heel to your bum. And then bring it back down. Now go with the connections. So pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. And we're really simply lifting the heel and lowering it. Now I want you to really focus on what's happening with your hips. Because what you'll find is as you lift and you lower, your hips want to just micro tilt side to side. And I want you to use your core now, pulling in to keep your hips still and don't let them tilt side to side. If you've got them really still, go a bit more dynamic so you can kind of alternate on these kicks. It's a little bit faster, right? Breathing out, lengthen. Breathing in, bring it back in. And again, you're going to work at just keeping those hips still. It's a very small movement, but they will want to tilt. Especially when quads are a little bit tight, so the front of your leg. 4 more. A lot of concentration just to keep those hips still. Really working with that core. And last one. So we're going to link these two moves together. Take your arms around your back and interlink your fingers. Breathing out, lift your head and shoulders. Squeeze those shoulders together. Breathing out, lower, look to the side, and then both heels kick up towards your bum. Maybe you can touch your heels. Lower that down. Squeeze those shoulders together. Lift the head, looking down. Then look to the other side. It's a neck release. Double leg, kick it up. And then lift. And you almost find like this rocking action. So head goes to the side, you bend your knees. You lift and you squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then you lower, you look to the side. Keep engaging with that pelvic floor, keep those connections. 2 more. Squeezing those shoulder blades together. Last lift. And release it down, pressing into the mat. And we're going to just go for a cat stretch, just to get a little bit of space in the shoulders. So lift the top of the back, chin to chest. Tuck your tummies in. Almost tilt your pelvis. Tilt your pelvis upwards. Cat stretch. So coming down then, and we're going to go for our plank. So elbows are underneath your shoulders. So just find pelvic floor, find TVA, and lifting up those hips. Knees are down, or if you want a little bit more now, take your straight-legged planks. So really working now, pelvic floor, TVA. Notice if you're holding your breath. We're going to do 3 times 30 seconds. I've already started counting, no worries. We're on this. And just notice if your neck or your head is really dropped down. So really think about the crown of your head in line with this plank. So don't let your head drop. Your chin dips slightly down towards your chest. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower it down. 10-second rest, and then we're going to go again. The station are going to love this, aren't they, when I show them this film on YouTube. Let's go again. Pelvic floor in, TBA, and lift up those hips. If you're on that full plank, let's take it up, straighten those legs. Really working with our core here and really thinking tummy button up towards the spine. If you want a little bit more, one leg lift. Point the toes. Bring it back down. Other leg lift. Point the toes. Bring it back down. Think about the hips being nice and still. Try not to hold that breath. Relax the jaw. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it down, take a 10-second rest. Whew. Okay. Ready to go again, shoulders into elbows into shoulders. Lifting up the hips, pelvic floor in, TBA in. If you want a little bit more, straightening out those legs. Leg lifting if you want then. So ready. Lift, point those toes. You get a glute squeeze in there as well. And lower, keep the hips still. And lift. And lower. Try not to hold that breath. Think about that tummy button drawing back up towards the spine. Really big TBA move. Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering it down. Sit back towards your child's pose there. Sitting all the way back. Perhaps make a diamond shape, so thumbs touch, index fingers touch, place your diamond on the mat. So if you can ease your forehead down towards the mat. And then just take some really deep belly breaths. Send the breath into that lower back. So from there, we're going to go on to our sides. I just quickly check on the time because I don't have a clock today. Cool. So I'm trying to pick a side. And I'm not going to reinvent the wheel on these side sequences because I really feel like some of the ones I've put together, they kind of really work. So I'm going to work with very similar things. You're going to know what's coming here. So bend the knees. We're going to start with clams. Line up your heels with your hips. So there's heels, hips, and shoulders. Lift the top knee and lower. Find your pelvic floor, find your TBA, especially TBA. Sometimes we switch on our sides, we just lose that pull, that little connection of drawing the tummy button in and back towards the spine. Should feel glute med firing. Check you're not arching in your lower back as well. That's another thing. You can get in this position and be arching there. So you're not like going back to the original moves we do in warm-up. Just tuck your tailbone in. And that all comes with pulling in the core. This is a really good breaststroke move. So I know I've got a really good swimmer with me today. I can see. Essential for breaststroke the clown. 4 more. Breathing out, lift. 3 and 2 and 1. Extend and straightening out the legs. We'll go for that double leg lift. So it's lift, lift, rib cage lift. Work with the balance. Arm coming up and over. And then bring it all the way down. If you want a challenge now, both legs lift together. Rib cage lift. Take it up and over. All the time, got that pelvic floor, that TBA pulled in. More of a challenge, lift it all together. Legs and rib cage, arm goes straight over. So just a little bit more fluid, a little bit more dynamic and lower. And again, double leg lift and rib cage lift, almost like you're floating there on your side. And then lower. Last one, and lift it. And lower. Brilliant. So from there, we're going to go to our single leg kick. So lift that top leg, level with the hip, flex that foot, kick it forwards, point the toe, bring it back. So if you can keep that leg up level with the hip, kick, point the toe, bring it back. If you want a bit more with a twist, hands behind your head, drop that top elbow, full body stretch, full body twist, drop it forwards. Flex the foot, kick, opening out into your twist, drop the elbow forwards, and then again, and kick, and dropping that elbow forwards. Last one, you should feel that hamstring stretch, so if you can get to 90 degrees, and bring it over. Last one on this side, and then we're going to switch it, is that side plank. So elbow underneath shoulder. I'm going to start with my knees bent, and all it is pulling in that core and lifting up the hips. And we've got our knees in line with that elbow. So we're going to go for a 30-second hold. If you want a little bit more, it's straight legs. If you want more than that, you can take it right up and take it up over. Up to you. There's always versions, there's always different layers. All the time, pelvic floor in, TVA in. If you're on the top version, you're working with balance and arm strength. Try not to hold the breath. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lowering it all the way back down. Switch it then, so we go on the other side. So we started with the clown, bend the knees. Heels, hips, shoulders all in line. Drop that top hip, lifting the top knee and lower. Breathing out, lift. Breathing in, lower. Notice what's happening with TVA. So really think now, tummy button, draw it back in towards the spine. Pull in that pelvic floor. Breathe out, lift. Breathing in, lower. Maybe you can feel tight, a little bit tightness more on one side than the other. So if you can, maybe you feel a bit tight, you can always go up and then just sit a little bit with the tightness and then lower. Try not to hold the breath. 4 more. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Release, straighten out the legs. Try and get a nice straight line there with the front of the mat. Hand underneath your ears, quite a nice stretch there for the neck. So it's lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, go with the rib cage lift, bring that arm up and over, pull in that core, and then release. If you want a bit more, go double leg lift, rib cage lift. Oh, I always find this side more wobbly. Arm over. And bring it down. Even more. Everything lifts all together. And release. Tying it in with the breath. Everything lifts and you're breathing out. Extend. And release. 2 more. Everything lift. Really work with the pelvic floor. Breathing out. Extend. And lower. Last one. Lift. Focus on the rib cage, that pelvic floor. And lower. Then we went for that side kick. Lift the top leg, flex the foot. Kick forwards, find 90 degrees, point the toe, bring it back. So you've already got that ankle exercise, that calf muscle exercise right in there. Hamstring stretch. If you want a little bit more, you've got your twist in there. So hands under your head, drop the top elbow. Bring the elbow forwards. Now find the connection, pelvic floor, TVA. Keep the control. Top leg stays up at hip height. Nice and slow into your twists. When your chest stretching. Breathing out as your leg goes into that kick to the side. 2 more. And last one. The last one on this side is that side plank. So elbow underneath your shoulder. So I started with the knees bent, and all it is pulling and scooping in that core, lifting up the hips. You want your knees in line with your elbows. If you want a little bit more, it's straightening out those legs. And we're going to go for 30 seconds. If you want that full version, hand underneath the shoulder, lift up to your high plank, take that arm up and over. It's like you're floating in space. Pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. Try not to hold that breath. If you're on the top version, you're working with that balance. Really filling out the chest with air. Try not to look down. Looking forwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lowering it down. We're going to go on to our backs now. So, lie on your back. Just find yourself neutral spine. So if you need a little pelvic tilt in there, find neutral spine. Maybe I'll be, you see me alright in there? Yeah, you can see me okay. Find the length at the back of the neck. Relax your shoulders. We're going to go for our classic 5 sets, 4 toe taps, 8 pulses, and an 8-second hold. You know I'm going to do that every week, right? So let's go with the beginner's version to start with. So lift one leg to tabletop and lower. Breathe out, lift. Breathing in, lower. 2 more. Try and keep the hips still. And lift. And lower. Find that pelvic floor. And lift. And lower. Lift the head and shoulders. Look towards the knees. Pulse. 8, 7, 6. Focus on the TVA. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw the hands up towards the knees, ribs to hips. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. If you want a little bit more, then we're going to go on tabletops and we're going to work with a little bit more imprint. So a little bit more work on the core. 4 toe taps. 4. And 3. Pull in that pelvic floor. And 2. And 1. Lift and pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straightening the legs, reach towards the knees. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Tabletops. Imprint. Find that TVA. 4 toe taps. 4, 3. Try not to let the hips tilt. And 2. And 1. Lift and pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straightening out those legs, reach towards the knees. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Tabletop. Shoulders are relaxed. 4 toe taps. 4, 3. Try not to hold the breath. 2. And 1. Put in that TVA imprint. Pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straightening the legs. Reach towards the knees. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. And release. Last time. Tabletop. Shoulders relaxed. Chin dipped slightly down towards chest. 4 toe taps. 4, 3, and 2. Find that pelvic floor. And 1. Lift and pulse. Chin towards chest. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straightening out those legs. Reach. 8, 7, 6, 5. Breathe. 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Take a full body stretch. Arms over the head. Straighten out the legs. Point the toes. Scrunch up the fingers. Make a fist. Scrunch up your face. Squeeze your glutes. Put some tension into the quad muscles, so push the backs of the knees into the floor. Pull in your tummies. Take a big deep breath in. As you breathe out, just let everything go. Relax your muscles. I can see at least 3 spiders on the ceiling. I wonder what they think to all this. Let's take some heel slides. So bend the knees. Keep the shoulders relaxed and just sliding one heel away. Try and keep your hips still and then bring it back up. Switch it over, alternating, slide the other heel away. And a bit like when we were doing our single leg kicks on our front, we're controlling what's happening with our hips and the tilting that they want to do by pulling in that pelvic floor, pulling in that TVA. So if you can get those hips still. If you've got them still, you want a little bit more. Tabletop it, so imprint that lower back down towards the mat. Pull in that core a little bit more, and then just heel slides, so push one heel away, and then back to tabletop. You're still focusing on keeping those hips still. They're not tilting side to side. This is your single leg stretch. Breathing out, extend. Breathing in, back into tabletops. Breathing out, extend. Breathing in, back to tabletop. So if you want a little bit more, then take those palms together, and I want you to press the palms together there. So put a little bit of tension into the arms. So we're going to extend one leg away, and then bring those palms across to the bent knee. Bring it back down. Over towards the bent knee. We bring that little bit of twist in the upper body. Focus there on the obliques, those ones down the sides. And those hips, try not to let those hips wobble. Find that pelvic floor pull in, find that TVA pull in. Breathing out to lift. 4 more. And 3. And 2. Still pressing those fingers together. And 1. Bending the knees, place the feet on the mat, arms up towards the sky, and just take them shoulder width. We're going to do our shoulder release, so turn the thumbs in, palms out. Lift the shoulders up off the mat, keep the back of the head on the mat. Turn it back down, press the shoulders in. And again. Turn the palms to the sides and lift. Turn them back around, pressing them in. Let's go 2 more, lift. Really reach on this. And then really work at pressing in. And then again, last one, reach. Keep that head on the mat. And pressing in. A little bit of space here you need over your head. So turn your palms out to the side. Drop your arms over your head. Touch the space above your head with your little finger. Then turn the palms, face each other. Back to center. And then again, turn them out to the sides. Little fingers drop. Turn them back. Now just notice what's happened with your pelvis there. So have your pelvic tilted and arched your lower back. So when your arms go up over your head, the chest sometimes wants to rise, your rib cage wants to flare. So take that concentration here to the rib cage and then the core pelvic floor, TVA, because that will control what happens with the pelvis. And that will also help keep that rib cage down. And then we can work at lengthening in the back. Breathing out, then extend and reach over the head. Breathing in, recenter. If you want a little bit more, and this is going to work with the core, you're going to bring it in that tabletops, imprint the lower back. Breathing out, arms go over the head, and maybe you go for your single leg stretch. Or if you want that full version, it's your double leg. Breathing out, both legs extend away from the body, imprint. Breathing in, back to center. So it's your double leg stretch. Still try and focus at keeping the rib cage down. And the chest down, not flaring. 3 more if you're on that double leg. Imprint. And back to center. Breathing out to extend. And last one. Bring it all the way down, arms out to the sides, or if you haven't got the space, cactus them. Breathing out, let both knees just drop across to the side. Nice and slow, so it's a lower back release. Pulling in that core, breathing in, back to center. Breathing out over to the other side. Really work TVA, pelvic floor, lift back up to center. So we're not arching the lower back there, we're almost kind of making your, almost like a tiny little C shape with the lower back to pull those knees back up. That's my safe way of twisting with that. If you want more, tabletop it, breathing out over, extend out to the corners, pulling those toes, breathing in center, breathing out over to the other side. And that's where you'll get that IT band stretch and that hamstring stretch as well. Rocking into the center, pulling in that core, breathing out, extend. And recenter. You don't have to work into those progressions. Just work with what you're comfortable with. Really focus on trying to keep those shoulder blades down on the mat, working with opening that chest. If you want, look in the other direction. So work with a bit more of a neck release in there too. Last one. So reset them, place the heels down on the mat. And then we're going to just slowly take a pelvic tilt here. So rocking the pelvis up and then pressing it down towards your feet. So lower back gets pressed in and the pelvis lifts, and then take it back down, the lower back arches. And we're going to take this into that shoulder bridge. So when you're ready, if you're with me on this one, slowly lifting up the hips, pull in pelvic floor, squeeze the glutes, bring the arms up over the head. Really pressing into the glutes. So we did this one last week. Carefully now, don't let the hips tilt. So if you can single leg lift, bend the knee and then straightening it up towards the sky. Bend and then placing it back down really carefully. We don't want those hips to tilt. Pressing into those glutes, lifting the other leg, bend and straighten. Bend, bring it back down. This is your lower back strengthening exercise. Lift and extend and really pushing up through the glutes. You should have your chin down towards your chest. It's like a really good neck kind of lengthening exercise too. Extend, you might feel that hamstring stretch. Breathing out, lift. Try not to tilt in those hips. We've got 2 more. Carefully placing those feet back down. Extend. Placing it back down. Last one. Maybe you feel those hamstrings stretching. Bring the arms back over. Slowly lowering those hips down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Hug your knees into your chest. It's a little bit of a circle or a rock. So from there, so if you can rock yourself up to a seated position, and we're going to take a few little rock backs here. If you're not comfortable with your rock back, go down to your C-shaped spine, and then draw up, shoulders back, lift up the chest, almost like an S-shaped spine or upright position. Otherwise, you're going to be with me. You're going to just hold on to the shins, lift the feet up, so you're hovering there. You're going to find a nice C shape with your spine. Breathing out, then you're going to rock back. Breathing in, lifting it back up to that hover. And to hold the hover, that's when you put in the core. Rock back, put in the core, hover. Such a fun move, right? And it's sometimes quite hard to rock back up. And you need to make sure then that that lower back is making that nice C shape. You're working through vertebrae by vertebrae into your rock. You're in a nice ball shape. Last one, rock back to your hover. Brilliant. So just get your feet now a little bit further away from your bum. We're going to go into some of our half teaser moves. Feet, knees, hip width apart. And we're going to just, breathing out, C-shape the spine, lower the lower back down towards the mat. And you're going to find that core engagement straight away. So pelvic floor, TVA engaged, shoulders are relaxed. Breathing in, coming back up. Breathing out, coming down. Engage the toes here, so maybe arch the feet, feel the arches underneath the feet. Maybe scrunch the toes up a little bit. So working with those connections from the toes to the core, shoulders are relaxed. Okay, you're going to come down, we're going to start adding things in. We're going to lift up to the top, we're going to lift one arm up towards the sky and then bring it back down and switch it, one arm up towards the sky and bring it back down, halfway down, C-shape the spine. Lift one arm up towards the sky, bring it back down, use the core now, lift one arm up. Try and keep those feet in touch with the mat. Lifting it back up then, lift one arm up and then take it all the way up and over, touch behind. So it's almost like a mini twist for the upper body. All the way up and over, other side. Draw it up towards the ceiling and then take it all the way around. Almost like we're drawing rainbows. Woo. Take it halfway down. Can we do that on this halfway down version? Draw it all the way up, touch that very top part of the mat, all the way back down. Other side, up and over, and touch, and back around. All the way up then, and then one more of these upper body twists, really effective. Opening in the chest, up and over, up and over. Last time, halfway down, up and over. Try and keep that control here. Pulling in pelvic floor, pulling in TVA. Working into these upper body twists. And then we're going to come up to this upright position, shoulders back, find the length here and your nice straight back. And we're just going to see if we can lift up the feet and hold. So just holding here, find pelvic floor, find TVA, shoulders back, lift up the chest. Now, next step, if you want it, is if you can let go of those legs. So your arms are just parallel here, and then if you can, with the shins. This is what we call a half teaser here. We're going to go for 10 seconds. Keep pulling in the core. Maybe you're rocking here, you're a little bit wobbly. It is a balance all the time. Shoulders back, lift up the chest. Work at getting a straight back in there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Have a go then. Let's go for our full body roll down. So legs straight, flex up the feet. Breathing in, reach the arms up towards the sky. Breathing out, circle the arms down and around, touch those toes, hamstring stretch. Breathing in, reaching it up. Breathing out then, C-shape the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, press those heels down as well. Come down, full body stretch. Breathing out, circle the arms down and around towards the knees. We're going to come all the way up, use the core. Draw the arms up towards the ceiling. Breathing out, circle it forwards. Breathing in, reach. Breathing out, coming all the way down, full body stretch. And circling it around, try and tie it in with the breath. Use that core to come back up. When we're up, we're getting the arms around the ears. Forwards, this is your last one. Reaching it up, flex those feet, press those heels down into the mat. Slowly, slowly, full body stretch. Breathing in and circle it around, hands towards those knees. And drawing it back up to that upright position. And release. Lovely. Okay, spin it around, facing this way. Get a comfy position. Actually, I've got a block today, so if you've got a cushion or anything, no, there's a block in the train station. And there's a bin. Okay, get yourself nice and upright. The more upright, the kind of better the twist is on those two long muscles that run either side of the spine. So you really don't want to be in a bad posture for this one. So index fingers together, thumbs together. Index fingers underneath the chin, thumbs into the sternum. We're growing really tall on the in-breath. Chin dips down towards chest, so that crown of the head goes up. Breathing out, just that nice slow twist. Looking over towards one of your knees. Breathing in, recenter it. Get tall, breathing out into that twist. You should feel it on those long strands of muscles either side of the spine. Find that pelvic floor, so work with these connections, find that TVA. Breathing in to get tall, breathing out into your twist. I'm going to add a little bit of this today. Breathing in, get tall, breathing out. I want you to see if you can sort of imagine you're going to hug someone to the side in slow motion. Breathing in, get tall, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Breathing out, bring the arms down. Slow motion twist hug, which you probably never do in real life. Breathing in, get tall. Find the length at the back of the neck. Breathing out into that twist, and then bring the arms down into your hug. Breathing in, get tall. Breathing out into your hug. Two more. Still engaging pelvic floor. Bringing it back to center there, we're just going to finish with a hamstring stretch. So if you want, you can stay on your cushion or your block, that's fine. Just straightening out one leg in front of you, flexing that foot. So two options here. You can either come around and hug around that knee and see if you can reach for those toes. So that's one option. Or the other option is to drop that knee out to the side. It's a bit more tricky on a block that, and then again, reaching forwards. Whichever one you're on, that's totally whichever one you want to work with. I want you first of all just to get tall. Breathe in, get tall. Breathing out, hinge forwards from the hips. So we're not just kind of letting the upper body sort of like splurge forwards, we're kind of really pushing from like the hips here, and we're kind of almost pushing the core forwards to kind of work a little bit deeper into that stretch. So maybe you can't get your toes, no worries. Take a couple of deep breaths. Keep flexing up that foot. Try and remember that when you're stretching kind of things like this in your hamstring, we can start to switch over, is we're not really trying to get anywhere, as in we're not trying to get to our feet or anything like that. We're just trying to give our legs a little bit of space. I think that's the best way of thinking about it. So switch legs, flex that foot up. Breathe in, get tall, and then start with the hinging from the hips. You may stick your tummy out to get that feeling, right? And working into that hamstring. Whichever one you're on, maybe you worked with the knee dropping out to the side. So sometimes when I work with this sort of stretch, I won't even try and reach forwards. I'll just work with that upright position and pushing the back of the knee down. So I can feel the hamstrings engaging. Like I kind of know, I don't need to go messing around with my feet, right? If I know that my hamstring's doing its job. Nice deep breaths. So coming out of that stretch, just going to do a little fun exercise. Come to the front of your mat. You sat maybe sideways on your mats, I reckon, maybe not. And all you're going to do is you're going to walk on your bum. So you're going to lift up your right bum cheek and then walk it back. Lift up your left bum cheek, walk it back. A bit of a weird one. And then walk. Lift up your left and walk it back. Lift at your right and walk it back. Lift at your left. Lift at your right. And this kind of a nice, kind of gets a little bit of stretching around in the hips and the pelvis, right? And back. Then bring it forwards. Oh, that was always hard. It's always hard to go forwards. You're going to lift and come forwards. And lift and come forwards. The things that she makes us do. Last one is a little bit of a shake. And we're going to finish there. So namaste. Thank you for joining me.